Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today we're going to take on a pretty contentious topic. This is the top 10 characters to farm for. Now, this is a question that gets asked all the time. This is a question that has no definitive answer. This is a question that, makes a lot of people get salty. It creates a lot of vitriol, and it creates a lot of discussion in the comments, both good and bad. So I do want to start this video off right away at the beginning by saying that this is just what I think. Now, of course, I have done some research. I have given it some thought. I have pondered while I'm sitting on the john. But I want you guys to understand that if you don't have these characters, or if you don't think this is the right way to go about things, that's cool, man. Cool story. It doesn't matter. Okay? Your opinion, my opinion, they're both great. It's a game. Have fun. If your characters that you farmed first aren't on my list, I'm sorry. This is just what I think, guys. I'm no authority. I'm no night nurse. All right? So let's get it started, guys. So right off the top, guys, I want to talk about story mode characters, because these are the ones that are the most easily farmable and the most visibly farmable to new characters. I didn't want to take all of the characters from this list from the story mode, because I know you guys have a limited number of energy, especially for new players. You have a limited number of clear tickets if you're running low on in real life time for the game, and other things like that. And that's a good point, guys, because a lot of us don't have 4 or 5 hours to put into the game every day, and so making the most of what little time you have, and hopefully with a guide like this you will improve your odds of getting to those world boss clears and getting to the end game content faster. So let's get it started, guys. First of all, the first character I would say, in no particular order, but the first character that I am going to mention on this list is Black Widow. Why Black Widow? Well, for starters, she has 4 different missions where she is farmable, and that's a big deal. You can crank out 20 bios of hers per day, which will rank her up to 6 stars very quickly. Now, I wouldn't recommend tier 2ing her, but getting her to 6 stars, getting her all mastery and stuff like that, it's going to open up a couple of different things for you. First of all, she's a pretty useful clear for the story mode if you're having trouble clearing the story mode. Second of all, she's a great striker for world boss, and she's basically a mandatory striker for Corvus Glaive, so you're automatically getting help there. Third of all, she's an excellent character for Alliance battle on speed day. Her 6-star skill has an iframe, and she's routinely listed as one of the characters used by a lot of high-level players on the Reddits to clear speed AB day. So those are 3 really important places in the game where Black Widow shines. And sorry, Black Widow, I forgot you in that last video, but I'm redeeming myself now. One more thing, guys, sorry, before I get to the next character. This guide assumes that you've already used your new player or returning player bonuses to get characters like Carnage or Hyperion or, of course, Loki. If you don't have those characters, of course, Loki being the top one to get, do yourself a favor, go get them now, pause the video, come back later. We'll wait. Okay, number 2, here we go. Number 2 I am going to mention is Kingpin. Now, Kingpin for the story mission only has 10 bows per day, not 20 like Black Widow, so he does take a lot longer to get up to 6 stars, but he has what I would argue is a bigger payoff. He is still amazing for Alliance battle like Black Widow, and he serves the dual purpose once you have his uniform of being good for blast and combat days, which is crucial for new players to build up their resources and build up bios. So Alliance battle is really important. And he is viable as the finisher, as the main DPS guy for world boss clears. He's a little bit slow. He gets punished a lot more frequently for errors in mechanics than other characters do. So I'm not saying that Kingpin is an easy world boss clear, but he is definitely viable with the right team. Okay, and that fact, coupled with his success in Alliance battle and Battle World and stuff like that, means to me he's a very important character to farm for. Similarly, number 3 on the list, Iron Fist. Iron Fist, again, like Kingpin, only has 10 bios you can farm per day, but Iron Fist is a beast with his uniform. He can clear solo Alliance battle days when he's tier 2. When he's tier 1, he still struggles and he needs a lot of support, but he still does good damage. But he absolutely shines. He's an absolute monster in World Boss. With the right team, and the other members of the team are included in this list, But with the right team, he can clear any world boss except Infinity Thanos in like a minute. So, you know, it's just bananas. His damage is just, it's bananas, it's mangoes, it's peaches. Okay, guys? So, definitely get Iron Fist. Next up on the list, guys, we have Deathlok. Deathlok is great. Although all of his bios come from the end game story mission content, you should have at least one 6-star character from starting the game, from starting Future Fight. So you should be able to clear up to 10-8 anyways. He has 15 bios to get per day, which is great. Okay, and just like the other guys on this list, he has many different purposes that he serves. So first of all, he is a beast for Alliance Battle. He is basically the mirror of Kingpin. He does both combat and blast days with his uniform, and he clears them, or helps to clear them, super effectively. Secondly, he has an amazing leadership, not only for World Boss, but for Timeline, but for anything that requires a leadership. He has 30% physical attack, which is hugely important, especially for World Boss. Thirdly, he is, or could be, a mandatory striker for Corvus Glaive because he's a dodge ignore striker like Black Widow. So having him on your team is almost a guarantee if you want to be clearing Corvus 5 out of 5 times, you know, per week. So I love Deathlok. I think he's great. Okay. Next one on this list, guys, Daisy. Okay. Daisy's a little bit tougher to see. And again, she does require a uniform, which is a common theme that you'll see. Not my fault, not my doing, guys. But she has 15 bios to get, and she's really useful for World Boss. That's where she really truly shines. She does her 3-star skill, which is a buff, and then you can transfer that buff onto other characters. Not just Iron Fist, that is the most popular option, but you can do other characters. And it basically just means that she can tool up, or like, you know, upgrade another character that you have to do massive damage. Now, I don't think it works on clones like Loki and stuff like that, but any character that has one, you know, one-shot skill, Proxima's 6-star, for example, Iron Fist's 5-star, for example, will do a considerable amount of damage more with her buff. Daisy is also pretty good for Alliance Battle. I have seen some teams, and I have personally tried some teams where she is the leader because of her leadership. Her leadership is not a heal, but it's kind of a heal. It's a pseudo heal. It basically creates a shield with 30% max health when you're attacking. So you use her as the leader, then you use Deathlok and Kingpin, and then you use Daisy's buff, you transfer to Deathlok, and he can clear all the mobs with his 6-star skill, and then Kingpin can solo the Frost Beast with his clones. This is not meant to be a guide for Alliance Battle, guys. I'm just letting you know why I think Daisy is really good. Okay, last character, second last character on this list is Sharon Carter. Why did I pick Sharon Carter, or Agent 13? Well, she's amazing for World Boss as a striker. Of course, the dodge ignore, important for Corvus Glaive. She also has 15 bios that you can get per day, which is great. She's also incredible for Alliance Battle on speed day. She has a iframe on her 6-star skill, like Black Widow, and she has an immunity to damage on her 5-star skill. So with Black Widow and Sharon Carter, or Agent 13, you've almost got yourself a very capable trio to clear speed AB days, and that's going to add up over time, guys. Also, guys, I have been thinking about this, but even though we have cards and alliances and you know, innate bonuses that level up our skill cooldown, for newer players, it can still be really hard for them to get that required skill cooldown for Loki to have his clones up and his shield up all the time. So for characters who are really struggling with skill cooldown time, if you invest in a character like Sharon Carter and you slot her in as the leader and you don't mind the loss of DPS, then she could really mean the difference between a World Boss clear and no World Boss clear, because that skill cooldown, guys, is so underrated. It's so important. It might be the most important skill percentage that you have in the game. The last character on the story mode missions to farm that I suggest is a little bit contentious, guys. I know I'm going to get some flack for this, but it's your boy MODOK. And here's my thinking behind this, guys. I don't honestly have a lot of experience with MODOK, but what I did notice throughout my list is that there are no energy damage leaderships present. What I mean is there are characters who give, there are a lot of characters who give plus physical attack on their leadership. Elsa is a great example. Plus 30% physical attack. Characters like Deathlok, characters like Winter Soldier, characters like, you know, there are more anyways. There are tons of characters who give physical attack buffs to the team, but there are very few characters that give energy attack bonuses, and most of them are unfarmable for new characters. Characters like Singularity, new players will not get her for a long time. Characters like Star-Lord, who only affects blast characters, but still basically unfarmable for new characters. So what I noticed is that most of the characters, I mean even Black Bolt, only 5 per day, it's just not enough. I noticed that most of the characters that have those bonuses are just too hard to get, or they conflict with other suggestions that I have on this list. The best case, or the best alternative suggestion, would probably be Captain Marvel, but you'll see in a minute why I don't suggest or I don't recommend farming for Captain Marvel. Okay, guys? So that's why I really like MODOK. It's honestly for his leadership. You will need that DPS bump in World Boss and in other modes, and he will give it to you. He also has some iframes native on his skill. He's got a bit of a pathetic heal. Overall, he's not a bad character. I'm sure if I used him more and I got more used to him, I could endorse him even more. But I think solely based on how easy he is to farm and his leadership, he would probably be a good investment for new players. Now, that's for the story missions. I have a couple of more suggestions to round out this top 10 list. And the first one comes from the special missions. The special missions, honestly, my first recommendation would be Groot. He's great for Alliance battle. He serves, multiple days, including Universal and Combat if you have his uniform. He's got the heal. When you tier 2 him, he's an absolute monster medic and support character. And he's really useful for World Boss, both as a character on your main team and as a striker. If you have a fragile DPS character and you need to give them heals, Groot as your third, sub him in, drop the heal, sub back out, and stand in the heal circle, and that's winning all day, guys. The second one, if you have Groot already, would probably be Ronan. Again, only for his leadership. Otherwise, he is not very useful in World Boss as a standalone character. I'm not going to really get into Giant Man and Yellow Jacket and those guys because they don't have their 6-star skills, and they don't bring as much to the table, to be honest, as Groot and Ronan do. Lastly, guys, the tokens that you get from Villain Siege, what should you do with them? Some people will tell you Ant-Man, but honestly, Ant-Man only really shines at max level and probably with tier 2. I would definitely invest first in Elsa. Why Elsa? Her leadership gives physical damage, and with her uniform, she's an absolute monster. She's also good for speed AB days, so you take that into consideration, and she has a better striker bonus in World Boss than any of these other 2 goons. So I would recommend Elsa to spend your Chaos tokens on. And then last but not least, guys, your honor tokens, who should you spend them on? Well, Gamora is a joke. Captain Marvel has the good leadership, but otherwise her character just struggles to stay alive, even though the DPS is good. And I would honestly recommend Warwolf. Why? Warwolf is a really great character because of his 6-star skill. It gives a huge buff with a long duration that you can pair with another high DPS character to really crank out the hits. And who you pair that with would be Iron Fist in this case. So that's the very popular team that you guys will see clearing World Boss very frequently, and I do it every day except for Infinity Thanos days. It goes Warwolf lead or Daisy lead, it doesn't really matter that much, and then Daisy, and then your boy Iron Fist. And this team can clear, as you guys have seen in my other videos, it can clear most of the world bosses in 1 minute, a minute and a half, 2 minutes. It struggles a little bit against Thanos specifically because of his big blue balls, but there are ways to get around that, guys. I'm not going to get into that in that video. So guys, to recap, Iron Fist, Elsa, Groot, Black Widow, Kingpin, Deathlok, Agent 13 or Sharon Carter, Werewolf, MODOK or Captain Marvel, or even Ultron for that matter, and then finally Daisy. Okay guys, a lot of those characters need their uniforms, so keep that in mind, but that is my list. Those are my picks for the top 10 characters that you should be farming for, that you should be putting on some priority in your head in order to accumulate a team, a roster that will be very competitive for World Boss and very competitive for Alliance Battle, because those are the two most important modes in the game currently. Okay, guys? I hope you guys like what you see. Keep up the comments, guys. Keep up the support. I love it, guys. Thank you so much. I can't say that enough. And if you like what you see, guys, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care, boys.